Hello everyone, welcome into Above My Pay Grade. My name is Eric. I was thinking yesterday about, a little deeper about why 87,000 more IRS agents were hired. And as much as we like to think politicians are stupid, which you'd be hard pressed not to think that, they're not stupid when it comes to taxes. It seems to be a very efficient form of government. And so I was thinking, why would you hire all these new IRS agents at a time when we're going into a recession? Thinking of the Laffer Curve, if you're not familiar, the Laffer Curve is basically throughout the United States history, no matter what the marginal tax rate was, federal income tax, we still took in about the same amount of taxes as of GDP, percentage-wise. And so when we raise taxes, GDP goes down, and the percent of taxes to GDP goes down as well, and vice versa. When we lower taxes, we still take in more in taxes, believe it or not. But raising taxes has never... Have you ever heard of a country who has taxed themselves to prosperity? Yeah, me either. So it's kind of a false equivalence. So we have this world in America where we are now demonizing, air quotes, the rich, because $1 million in today's world, I mean, you're not poor, but you definitely ain't rich. You're not Scrooge McDuck diving into a pool full of gold. Plus, that would hurt anyways. But my point is, why are they what's the end game here? Why would they hire 87,000 new IRS agents? And then I started looking into what Biden is proposing. So he's proposing a new 40% marginal tax rate on inheritance. This is money that's already been taxed before by the federal government. And why is this? I think a lot of it has to do with this article. 35 trillion. Where is that $35 trillion? It's in the hands of baby boomers. They have these retirement accounts, they have real estate, and they're one of the wealthiest generations in the United States. And as they start to pass away, or when they pass away, they can leave an inheritance to their children. Oh, no. That's not okay with the United States government. Anything over $1 million is now going to be taxed at 40%. 40%. And we need an army of IRS agents to look into this, to include your also your Venmo payments and your Cash App payments. Like, if you had a good garage sale last year, we need to look into that. That's what those 87,000 new IRS agents are for. But here's something nefarious about what the Biden administration is proposing with this 40% marginal tax rate on capital gains. So let's say I own a family business. It doesn't matter what it is. And it's been in the family for 3 generations. Every single generation, as it's passed down, that's considered an inheritance. So it's not a very liquid asset if it's a family farm, but if I pass it to my child upon my death, if it's worth more than $1 million, my child has to pay capital gains on that, which translates to they have to sell the farm. And so when somebody says we're going to tax the rich, oftentimes this is how it appears on paper, that some guy just lighting cigars with $100 bills, but it's people with family businesses that are passing it down that are not liquid. They have assets in the business if they were to sell the whole business. But if it's a family business that they pass down, they end up having to sell 40% of it just to pay the taxes alone. And do you think the government's going to do anything good with that money? Obviously not. So it's fairly insidious and gross. But that's why I think they're focusing on this, because where's the wealth in America today? The wealth in America is with the baby boomer generation, and we've all heard about millennials and having a hard time buying homes. And so The baby boomer generation is giving inheritances to their kids as they pass away, and the federal government wants their cut. And they know that inheritance is going to increase because of the massive amount, that 35 trillion, that is in the hands of baby boomers. All right, so reading from this article here, Americans age 70 and above have a net worth of 35 trillion. That amounts to 27% of all U.S. wealth, up to 20%, up from 20% 3 decades ago. And a lot of these people invested in Roth IRAs or 401ks, so they had delayed, or they don't have to pay taxes on this, but the government, you're going to get theirs. And a lot of smart people, by the way, all this means for them is just like more detailed tax planning. But for the family business, that's who this screws over the most, in my humble opinion. So it says here in this article, today people who inherit assets that have risen in value, such as stocks held outside retirement accounts, a family home, or a 3-generation manufacturing company, don't pay capital gains taxes unless they sell. If they sell that, they can exclude gains that occurred during the prior ownership's lifetime. Under the Biden proposal, the owner's unrealized gains would become taxable in the year of his or her death. It's sick. Absolutely sick. Meaning, that business you worked hard for, just because you die, you owe 40% to the government. It's absolutely sick. Okay, although each person would receive a $1 million exemption plus $250 for residents, so the top marginal tax rate would go from 23.8 to 43.4. This like puts us up there in the record books, by the way, when it comes to marginal tax rates. We're going to be close to number 1 when it comes to marginal tax rates. And this is not to mention that over 20% of Americans today don't pay federal income tax. What's the problem with that? Well, if I am a voter, just like you, and my voice counts just as much, if I can vote for you to pay me, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to vote for you to pay me. I'm going to vote for you to sell your family farm so I can get federal benefits. So this idea that there's a certain percentage of Americans who shouldn't have skin in the game when they vote, meaning they can vote to drop their taxes and raise somebody else's taxes to pay for their own lifestyle, that's a fairly insidious thing, because you got to look at incentives and people will take them. And this class warfare that politicians are selling, it's kind of gross in my opinion. Further reading here, at no time in modern history has so much wealth been in the hands of older people. That's why one of the many reasons, but that's why these IRS agents are being hired and these new taxes are being proposed, in my humble opinion, is where's the money? We got to get to it. So we got to change the tax code to get to that money yet again. The fortunes of Americans' oldest generation are enlarged by a booming post-World War II economy, declining tax rates, and high-income households and rising real estate and stock market. It's very sad, the state of our country when it comes to taxes. And as the Laffer Curve says, you cannot tax yourself into prosperity. But federal government's not worried about that. They're worried about short-term, especially politicians, they're worried about short-term 4 to 8 year, sugar rushes in the economy. And then consequences after that, the next guy will deal with it. But I just think you have to be more prudent and shrewd with your investments and tax planning these days, because the government is doing that exact thing. They're being more prudent and shrewd with figuring out ways to steal people's hard-earned money and inheritance when it comes to businesses and family farms stuff. It's pretty gross, in my humble opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you guys in the next one. Peace.